Hello and welcome one and all for today's review of Joytoy's 1/18 scale Ultramarine Captain in Gravis armor. Now, out of the three we've taken a look at so far, the Gravis Captain is easily the beefiest and most decorated of all the Ultramarines I currently have. Aside from the bulkier frame, the unique adornments and inscriptions on the right leg and arm add a greater sense of rank compared to the Lieutenant. The Power Fist with bolter is just plain badass, and the swords are almost, if not the same size as the figure itself. The cape is surprisingly made of a soft material and in a beautiful shade of red, and the Iron Halo and Servo Skull add major points to its imposing vibe and really drive the point that he's from 40k. Add all of that to the quality one can expect from Joytoy, as they can't seem to miss with their paint and quality of materials that they use for the figures themselves. But a few things to note though for my copy. Out of the box, the torso of the figure wasn't connected to the waist, and the butt armor always fell off. The red rope on the belt on the front of the figure kept popping off, and finally the Iron Halo won't fully plug into place. It may very well be unlucky on my part, but just in case that it's a Joytoy QC issue, it would be worth to put it out there. All issues found were fixed easily by either popping parts back into place or using glue to keep them there. Another thing to note again is that the cape is made of a soft material, so it's rather easy to handle, and the cable connecting the bolter to the backpack is also made of a flexible material, not quite hindering the left arm movement, but definitely enough to limit posing options. It's going to be a similar scene with the Gravis Captain, as we have a secondary head, three kinds of hands, being your standard holding hand, fist, and trigger finger hand, with the two weapon options being a power sword and a chain sword. Finally, the onboard accessories are the Storm Gauntlet over on the left side. Also, just in case I forgot to mention, he also comes with a clear base. Moving on to posing, we have a ball-jointed head, but with the thicker helmet variant, you have limited range compared to the unhelmeted one. The same ratchet joints with swing out shoulders, a bicep cut, and a lateral raise that can go out this far, with the double ball joint wrists for the hand display options. Around the torso, the Gravis Captain looks have two ball joints, one on the upper midsection of the torso and the other around the waist, allowing for some more dynamic poses. The legs have a thigh swivel, but backwards movement is being hindered by the cape and the cables on the back of the legs, which is limiting. But it still allows for a double jointed bend, and the feet are connected on a ball joint with a hinge at the toes. Size comparisons, and this guy lives up to his beefy size, being taller than the current Space Marines I have. Here he is alongside the Amazing Red, Ironhide, Grimlock, Minifig, and Nargacuga. Now, the box of every Joytoy figure I've had state that the product is a collectible figure and not a toy, which I found to be kinda off since I think there's a lot of playability with the Intercessor and Lieutenant with Power Fist. Now, don't get me wrong, as I think that with that articulation you have to work with, you have quite a few posing options at your disposal, but that's just it. They're posing options, and this is one of those collectibles that would definitely classify as a figure, than an action figure, a toy. Setting aside the quality control issues I found on my copy, due to the Gravis Captain's design elements from the leg cables and the capes, you really won't find any hyperdynamic poses with it, which isn't really a complaint, because the design of the figure lends itself to that, to being a tank, an immovable force. Now, getting back on track, let's ask the question of, is he worth it? To me, I definitely say that he is. The bigger size was a welcome surprise, and despite having a limited choice of which sword to use, between the lore optimal power sword or the metal-looking chain sword, I'd be willing to bet that you'll be switching between the two every so often. The Gravis Captain is a welcome addition to any 40k Joytoy lineup, and is definitely one of the best the toy line has to offer.